Very good morning once again. Thank you for remaining with us. You're still watching Financial Markets, and my name is Anthony, your host. Now, yesterday, the market was a little bit in the green, but looking at the all share index, it went down. So we didn't have much performance as per the counters here in Uganda, domestic counters. We had only 2 people participate in trading on the market yesterday, and the day ended with about 7 gainers, but only 1 loser, and that was MTN Uganda. Now, the market really didn't move much because, as you know, whenever these counters move or gain, they are not locally listed, and usually these are not due to trading volumes, or maybe companies that are trading very big volumes on the market. These are usually movements due to influence from their domestic markets back in Kenya. For example, you can see amongst the 7 gainers we had yesterday, we had KCB leading the gainers at 0.28%. Then we have East African Breweries Limited coming in at 0.28% as well. Then we had Nation Media Group as well coming in at 0.28%, EBL, JHL, and Centum. All these counters we can see here on the screen are actually counters from Kenya, and these don't have much influence when it comes to our, our market here, because they are not so much traded on. For example, we can see that only about 25,700 shares were traded on the market yesterday, and among these we had Wumeme shares being traded. We had a couple of MTN shares that were traded, and nothing more. Meaning, these movements in pricings are not actually due to people trading on these counters. These are entirely based on these performance of these counters on the Nairobi Stock Exchange, which is quite a little bit unfortunate, but at least we can say we had 7 gainers on the market, and as you have seen on the screen here, KCB came out on top of the list at a gain of 0.28%, and then followed by East African Breweries Limited at a 0.28% gain at 4,469.14. And then the Nation Media Group came in at a gain of 0.28% as well at 579.78, while Equity Bank Limited came in at 1,417.28 after a gain of as well 0.28%. And then JHL came in at a 0.28% as well, but at 7,963.92, while Centum came in at 320.86 after a gain of 0.28%. You can see the percentages indicate that these moved almost in the same, with the same magnitude, 0.28, 0.28, basically because this was not due to entirely market activity. This was entirely due to other forces, maybe on the Nairobi Stock Exchange, maybe factors surrounding these companies themselves, but not entirely after activity. Because like we mentioned, how the stock market really works and how these prices shift either to the positive side, that is the gaining side, or the negative side, that is the losing side, it's entirely supposed to be based on demand and supply. But we are not seeing that on these counters because these are cross-listed, and not many people trade on cross-listed equities, which is not a good thing, honestly. We should trade indiscriminately, but as well, because based on investors' maybe mindsets, or also based on what investors' experiences look like, maybe they wouldn't wish to invest in stocks that are not that liquid, that they will not be able to sell as soon as possible, as soon as they want to sell. And so that's why we see a bit of dormancy or docility on the markets when it comes to the cross-listed equities. But as well, there are people who trade on these equities. Definitely, we've seen, for example, KCB come out as very strongly there, and some of these very cross-listed companies have some of the highest value on the market, with for example, Equity Bank coming in position number 1 in terms of the value of the shares. They have a value of over 5.2 trillion shillings worth of shares that are listed on the main board of the Uganda Securities Exchange. So we see that there is a lot of movement, but not much impact in terms of activity on the market here in Uganda of these cross-listed companies. Now, moving on to the losing side, we had MTN Uganda, who came in at 185.0 Ugandan shillings after losing 2.51%. MTN Uganda significantly has been going up and has been touring towards the 190 shillings mark, and then we see him back to 185 after losing by 2.51. Yesterday we see that he traded some bit of volumes here, and we see that he traded a total volume of about 2,800 shares coming down to this 185. So we are saying that these companies are moving depending on supply and demand. Definitely this loss doesn't mean the company has lost whatsoever. It simply means this is how the market moved in terms of trading at that particular day, and we see that this shows you exactly how the company ended the trading session. Trading now is open at exactly 9 a.m. Definitely people are buying and selling. You can also go on the Uganda Securities Exchange and open yourself an SCD account. That is a Securities Central Depository, and in that account you can be able to open or you buy shares, you can be able to sell shares, you can be able to buy bonds and bills and all these other securities, and this account will help you to store some of these and be able to access them whenever you would wish. And this account is simply opened by either, there are several ways, but one of them is you can visit www.useeasyportal.com. When you visit that website, they will guide you through the steps taken. Definitely a national identification number or a passport number, a passport photo. You'll see very simple details for your identification, and they will be able to open for you an SCD account. Now, after getting one, you must as well get a stockbroker, get in touch with one stockbroker who will help you to trade on the stock market. Like I've told you, you may not be able to monitor all these movements in prices every single day, but the stockbroker, this is his job. He's saying, you can come and give me the role, and that's exactly how the market procedures state. You must go through a stockbroker. You cannot buy shares individually without a stockbroker. So we have several stockbrokers that are licensed by the Capital Markets Authority, and currently there are 4 in number, and we have Crested Capital, we have Standard Bank Group Securities, that is SBG. We also have UAP Old Mutual, and then we have Dyer and Blair. And all these have been here on the show. Definitely, if you've been catching the show, they have been able to share with you how they do business and how you can be able to trade on these counters safely and be able to gain from them. All they need is your cooperation, your identification. They just need your money, definitely, to be able to trade for you. But remember, the stockbroker, the moment you're not making money, he also doesn't make money, because he gets commission off what you've made as interest, not off what you've made as losses. So definitely they will try to see that you get a little bit of interest coming in on your money, so they will invest in the wisest way possible to see that the investment brings returns in the due course, and definitely that will make you happy and will make the stockbroker happy as well. And the other way you can do it is you can use a *165 hash, that is using MTN, and then you go to option number 6 for financial services, and then you go to option number 5 where you can go into the Uganda Security Exchange, and then you will have to fill in details of your national identification number, That's your NIN number or your passport number, and all these will lead to opening of your SCD account. That's the first thing you got to do, and this is entirely free of charge. With no cost, you can be able to open your account even if you don't have any money, zero money on you, and you just want to open the account just in case you get money to invest. It's okay. You can open the SCD account and have that account running without any money. When you get money, you can deposit and be able to contact a stockbroker who can be able to trade for you. And now there are so many options, and we wouldn't want to be limited, but Altex East Africa also gives you the same opportunity. You can trade still on the stock market. You can trade in other securities such as bonds and bills using the ZABU initiative, My Money, My Future, in contracts, of course, with Altex East Africa. You can simply dial *292#, and then you choose option 1 to buy, and then you can go to the securities there. You can learn about the products. You can see the bonds, and you see the time. You can find a convenient bond, 3 years, 10 years, and then you can put the money, deposit some money there that you're willing to invest in that particular instrument, and you can put your PIN, and you'll be able to receive a notification on your phone. It is a hassle-free, initiative without access to the internet. Altex East Africa is helping you do something new, and you can now get access to that through as well as that initiative. So it's up to you really to get started, but we can say that these markets are now accessible. You have learned about the products. You have learned about the stock market. What are you waiting for? Invest that money that is lying idle in your pockets, lying idle in the back of your pillow, in your bank account. You can withdraw that money and go crazy on the stock market and see what happens. Well, back to the stock market here, as we have seen only one loser, and looking at the other side of things here, we see capably maybe KCB Group here, who came out on top. We can just monitor and see this curve here showing how the prices have moved. KCB has had averages of 1,400 in the past few months, and we are seeing that it's still doing below average. And this average, you can see that line cutting across the 1,400 mark. You can see that that in month of January, we are seeing the month of March, they witnessed at least prices ranging from 1,400 or slightly below 1,400. But we can say that even before that, in September and December last year, we can see that the prices were well above that mark of 1,400. And right now, we can see that the prices started going down around the month of April and May, and we see there was a drastic drop here in prices in the month of May, and we hit the rock bottom around the end of the month of May, starting the month of June, and then we see that the prices went up a little bit again, but that didn't sustain, and we see they came back down a little. They have been going back up recently, but then now coming back down again, and that is the KCB stock there. It's a volatile one. If you can see, it keeps changing. It's up and down at the same time, and we can say that it is a promising stock, because a stock down and up is a good one. At the lows, you're able to buy, and at the high, you're able to actually sell your stock. KCB, as we all know, is a subsidiary of KCB Group in Kenya, and it looks into, of course, the banking sector. The bank opened here in Uganda as well in 2007, and has been in operation for all that time since 2007. KCB Bank offers a fully fledged universal financial banking products that are tailored for the common Ugandan market. And these, of course, taking advantage of the emerging regional investment opportunities to support the inter-regional trade in the East African region. Now, KCB got listed in the year 2010, meaning it has been listed for the past 12 years. It got listed on the 19th of October 2010, and it trades under the ticker symbol, as you can see, KCB. And we can say currently, when we look on the stock market, based on this performance yesterday, it is currently the third most valuable stock on the Uganda Securities Exchange, with a market capitalization of 3.72 trillion Ugandan shillings, which is about 17.6% of the entire Uganda Securities Exchange equity. And so it's highly ranking. You can see the third most valuable stock. We talked about the most valuable stock as equity. We're seeing the third most valuable as still KCB, meaning when it comes to value, we see that the Kenyan stocks are much more valuable, basically because based on their pricings back in the Nairobi Stock Exchange, which are supposed to be, of course, comparable or even the same as the prices here. And then the currency in Kenya definitely has a higher value at 39 Ugandan shillings per Kenyan cent, per Kenyan shillings. You see that some of these stocks have very much higher prices compared to our domestic stock here. So it's no surprise that these stocks are actually more valuable in most cases than the Ugandan stock, basically because of the pricing and then the foreign exchange that comes in there with the Kenyan shillings against the Ugandan shillings and the like. Those are some of the dynamics that actually play out on these cross-listed equities. Now we see that there was a daily gain of 3.49 Ugandan shillings, and that was a 0.29% gain. This brings Kenya Commercial Bank to a 1 week performance of about a loss of 4.31% in 1 week, and a 4 week gain of 5.99%, while a 3 months loss of 5.71%, and a 6 months loss of 12.3%, while looking at the year-to-date performance of about 11.8% still loss. Now we can say that KCB began the year, this very year, with the price of about 1,414. If you can just see that line on January 1st, if you can tell, January 1st we had prices ranging around 1,414 and has since lost value at 1,248.14, which is about 11% loss in that value. Now, due to this year-to-date performance, it's ranked the 10th in terms of year-to-date performance on the Uganda Securities Exchange. And shareholders' fears, however, may be allayed by the fact that it has increased 6% for the last 1 month since 23rd of June last month, which is the 5th best performance on the Uganda Security Exchange in terms of monthly performance, or in terms of 4 weeks performance. And so it's not really doing bad when it comes to the shorter term, but in the long term you can see we have lost a little bit of value on this KCB stock. We can see that the volumes we are recording on the 11th of maybe we can see that on the 11th of last year, 11th of August, we can see that they traded over 296 shares, and that closed the price at 1,503.12. Nothing really much has changed. But recently, of course, KCB changed administration for Mr. Joshua Oigara, who was the group's managing director and chief executive officer, to Mr. Paul Russo, who is now the current chief executive officer for the Kenya Commercial Bank. Officially, of course, after several achievements over the 9 years, Mr. Joshua Oigara gave up his seat, but definitely left the company in a better position, and we hope Mr. Paul Russo will just pick up from there and keep pushing one of the best commercial banks we have in East Africa. Now, looking at the competitors for this particular counter, we see that there are over 7 of them that deal also in the financial services sector, including Bank of Baroda holding their annual general meeting today. Now, Bank of Baroda is valued at 213 billion, and it has lost by 11%, relatively the same loss, year-to-date loss as KCB. Then we look at Equity Bank Limited, also at 5.25 trillion, the company with the highest market capitalization, also coming to compete with the Kenya Commercial Bank, which is at 3.72 trillion. But looking at the year-to-date performance, also Equity has lost value of about 11%. So relatively, they are still performing almost at the same footing. Stanbic Bank, however, is really not performing as well compared to this particular bank, KCB, in terms of these stock pricings. We see that Stanbic Bank has a total market capitalization of 1.03 trillion, which is still lower than the 3 trillion for this company. But also in terms of year-to-date performance, we see that Stanbic has lost over 22% of its value since the year began, while this company has lost just about 11% value. And so in terms of that performance, still this company comes on top. And then we see National Insurance Company at 17.7%, which comes on top of this counter because we see a gain there, not a loss in terms of year-to-date performance. Then DFCU Bank at 411 billion shillings. We see that the company actually has been able to beat this one as well. Then Jubilee Holdings and then Centrum Investments are some of the other competitors. Now, these are important figures, definitely, and information because we see the fact that this gives you a picture of where should I invest most. You see the counter, you look at its year-to-date, you look at its one month performance, you look at the other competitors on the same market, in the same maybe industry. Maybe this is a bank, so you look at all the other banks that are listed. Is it the best bank I can invest in right now on the market? How is it trading? You look at the volumes that have been traded in the recent past, and definitely you want to involve yourself in trading with a company or a stock that is trading, where people are interested in buying, where people are interested in selling. And that is a good stock to actually be able to trade in. And one of the very most key performance indicators that investors look out for, stock brokers and the like, is traded volumes. How much is this company trading? Is it something I can bank on or not? And this is why we don't see much activity in some of these stocks, because much as they have a very huge market capitalization like Equity, which has over 5 trillion, and now KCB having over 3.28 trillion, you see they have a lot of market cap, but when it comes to daily trading, you don't see much volumes are being traded. And so you look at smaller stocks like Bank of Baroda coming out on top when it comes to the most traded. And that is exactly where investors are interested in buying shares. You're interested in buying in a stock that is busy on the market, and that is a way of being able to either buy, a way of being able to sell whenever you would want to sell, and that is exactly what the shareholders are looking up to all the time. And so KCB Bank is there for you, definitely coming on top of the gainers, but it's up to you whether you would want to invest in this stock or not. But remember to get financial advice from, of course, a licensed stock broker who is able to guide you and be able to direct you on particular stocks. Thank you for remaining with us. Remember, you're catching this conversation on Twitter as well at Smart24, and then you can also catch us on our YouTube right now as we stream live. Thank you for remaining with us. We are going to take another quick break, and when we return, we look into the other stock performances, and later on we will be having our guest. Don't go anywhere, stay with us.